questions that pop into your mind throughout the session. So not to worry, because we have dedicated a specific Q&A session at the end of the sharing. So after the sharing is done, we are going to have a Q&A session just to answer all your burning questions. All right. So if you have any question, you can go into this link, bit.ly/startup Slido. You can just put it into your Google Chrome, and it will lead you there. You can ask any of your questions throughout the session, just pop it in there. You can ask it anonymously, or you can put your name, it's up to you. You can even vote as well. So maybe perhaps somebody has already asked certain questions that you already have in mind. You can just vote it. The highest votes are the questions that we are going to start from, begin from, okay? But throughout the session, we are here live on Zoom, so we would love to still interact with you and speak to you. You can't unmute yourself, but we would love to hear from you through the Zoom chat box, okay? So I'm just going to type hi, all right? So throughout the session, we don't want to just be another keynote session, okay? We want to be an interactive one with you. So we're going to have several conversations with you throughout the sharing. We would love to hear from you through the Zoom chat box. Or for those of you who are watching from Facebook Live, welcome you as well. You can put it into the Facebook comment section. Did it drop again? Yeah. Oh, no. All right, we are back, right? We're so sorry, there is just a slight technical issue here, but we are back now. I was saying that we would love to hear from you through the Zoom chat box. We would love to hear from you through the Facebook comment section. We do have a virtual assistant here with us, so they can assist you with anything that you have. So you can pop any questions that you have into the Zoom or Facebook. So they are here to assist you. All right, did I get everything? Okay. One last thing, and also the most important thing, we would love to take a Zoom Wi-Fi with every single one of you, all right? So do on your video if you can. I know Asians are usually a little bit more shy, but we'll just take one picture with you to commemorate really the first R.A.I.S.E virtual workshop together. So do on your Facebook, do on your Zoom video just for a short while. We would love to take a Zoom Wi-Fi with you. I see a couple of you on now. Hi, Dr. Patrick, good to see you. Hi, Zoe. Hi, John. Hi, Ken. Right. Hi, Melvin. Hi, Rizal. So good to see you. Hi, Clara. All right. We're just gonna take a Zoom Wi-Fi. Rizal here is he's behind the camera. You can't see him, but he's really the key person for making this whole R.A.I.S.E program happen. So kudos to Rizal. All right. Right, Rizal is going to help us with, he's going to screenshot the Zoom. So I'm going to count to 3. Just give your widest smile. And because we have quite a number of people here, we have 58 right now. I believe there are going to be more coming in. So just smile for a while, okay? Until I say done, then you can turn off your video after that. It's fine. All right. Mike, can you help to shift the angle to both me and Karthik? Karthik is actually here right beside me, the speaker for today, the chairman of Global Entrepreneur Exchange. We're going to take a Wi-Fi together along with Karthik as well. Rizal, are we ready? Ready. All right, we are ready. Okay, so give your biggest smile. I'm going to count to 3, just smile, okay? 1, 2, 3, smile. Keep smiling. Go on her little aura. Are we done? All right, we are done. Thank you so much. Really, just a lovely seeing all of you here. Hi, Bernard. Hi, Ruben. Hi, Hannah. Okay, I can't get everybody. I can't say all of your names, but thank you so much, and so good to see you in a R.A.I.S.E virtual workshop. All right, and I know we have introduced ourselves. Why not you introduce yourself as well? Because we would love to get to know you a little bit better. So in the Zoom chat box, just type your name and what business you're in, all right? What do you do? We would love to get to know you more. Just type in your name and what do you do, what business are you in the Zoom chat box. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, put it into the Facebook comment down below as well, your name and what business you're in. We would love to get to know you a little bit better so that, Karthik can also answer some of your questions and customize for today's session better as well. Hi, Jason. Jason is an M&E consultant. All right, just keep it coming, all right? And whilst we are doing that, why not we have the speaker for today, the chairman of Global Entrepreneur Exchange, Karthik Siva, to say hi to all the entrepreneurs here in Sarawak.
Hi guys, really look forward to having this interactive session with you. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's so good to see you all. Hi, Jing. Jing is an event organizer. Can you still hear me, right? Okay, Jing is an event organizer. We have Alexander, the cafe owner of 57. Wow. All right, just keep it coming, guys. What your name, your business, we would love to get to know you better. We have JP. Hi, JP, co-founder of House KCH and the champions. Wow, we have some champions here today. We have Elizabeth, innovation and entrepreneurship exec. We have Jamie, in your help. Pepper Farmers merchandise the current manual process. Wow. We have, looks like we have really quite a diverse group of entrepreneurs with us here today. Now, without further ado, I know all of you are really excited to hear from Karthik as he shares some of the insights to make startup, how to make and build a successful startup. We're just going to formally introduce Karthik. Mike here is going to help me with a short video. Fix your eyes on the screen as we introduce Karthik Siva.
I think it's very important, not only for business, for politics, for anybody that seriously want to do something, is to ask the big questions.
When Karthik first asked the question, does your business matter? It actually stirred up something within me. So I think this is something that I should be looking into.
What a tool set to meet the challenges that we face. Who do we find that can teach us how to grow our company?
I want to express my thanks to your chair, Karthik Shiva, and also compliment Karthik's fantastic leadership.
Every business, every entrepreneur must ask this question: what is the real problem? Just imagine if your business disappears, will people truly miss you?
Think about what happened with Singapore. Then you can understand why I was so excited to be invited by Karthik again to be here.
If you want your business to truly make an impact, you've got to make it matter. Hi guys, very good afternoon to you. It gives me great pleasure to talk to these amazing entrepreneurs from Sarawak. I know one thing, that in the whole of Malaysia, even though Sarawak has a smaller proportion of entrepreneurs, it is the most dynamic entrepreneur ecosystem in Malaysia. And this is a secret which not very many people know. Sarawak is the third largest contributor to Malaysian GDP after Selangor and let's say Johor. Now, I'm delighted to be here. I'd like to thank Dato Patrick Liu and his amazing team that helped put this amazing platform together. And we are truly delighted to collaborate with iCube Innovations based out of Sarawak. I know there is one question all of you are going to have at the top of your mind. And this is the question you're going to have. The question is this: is there a formula or a framework that can help a startup or an SME become successful? Now, this is a formula. This is a question you're going to have, whether it is top of mind or whether it is in your subconscious. How do I know that? Because in the hundreds of platforms that I've spoken, this is something that always keeps coming up again and again. Is there a formula or framework, Karthik? The short answer to this question is this. You'll be delighted to know that yes, there is a formula. There is a framework. And if you put this framework to practice, I can literally promise you this, your business will dramatically raise its chance of being very, very successful. Now, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to spend the next 30 to 40 minutes sharing this formula and framework with you. Now, before I do that, let me just before I do that, I'd like to share with you a piece of advice that I got sometime around 2005 and 2006. I was doing this interesting project where I had to interview 70 billionaires from across Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Russia. And I was doing this for a client of mine who was a billionaire himself. And when I was doing this project, I met this very interesting man who had built $3 billion businesses. And he's a okay.
Back up.
Okay. Sorry, the line seemed to have dropped a little bit. I was sharing this story in 2005, 2006. I was doing this interesting project which involved interviewing 70 US dollar billionaires. And I was doing this study for a billionaire himself. And at that point, I was based in Singapore. And this particular gentleman was rather unique because he had personally built $3 billion businesses.
Wow.
And not only did he build $3 billion businesses, he was also running 12 businesses that were making anything from 100 to 300 million US dollars. And you know something? Every single business was profitable. So this particular person obviously has that Midas touch. In other words, the golden touch. So I asked him this question, and my question was this. It was, is there a formula for success? How is it you've built so many
Dropped again.
businesses which were successful?
Dropped again.
Dropped again?
Yeah.
Looks like we are back again. So the question I asked him was this: is there a formula for success for a business? Because he, I would suppose, would know this better than anybody else. He looked at me, and in 1 nanosecond, this is what he told me. And let me show what he actually told me. He said, get your house in order. That's what he said. Quite frankly, that was not exactly the phrase he used. You know, the phrase he used was a very colorful phrase. He was a billionaire, and he can get away coming out with a phrase like this. He actually said, Karthik, get your shit in order. That's what he said. Now, I'm a very polite person, so I kind of changed it a little bit and said, get your house in order. Now, I asked him, what exactly do you mean? You know, what do you mean, get your shit in order, or get your house in order? Now, when he explained it to me, suddenly it made a lot of sense. So what exactly does that mean? I have to explain this to you. I was working with a retail company with over 100 branches in Malaysia. And I was advising them, and I went to one of the branches, which was probably their biggest branch. I drove in to their car park, and I was trying to park, and I looked around. The whole car park was a little dark and dingy. There were lights that were flickering, and one or two bulbs kind of popped out, burst. So I was wondering, my God, this car park looks a little dingy and dark. Who's really going to come here? No? I stopped my car, then got out of the car, and when I looked at the floor, I found that the floor was very slippery. It was full of grease. It was full of petrol. It was very easy to slip on this particular floor in the car park. So I was a little uncomfortable. It was dark and the floors were slippery. Then I walked towards the entrance, which was close to the lift. Just close to the entrance was a large garbage can. This garbage can was overflowing with garbage. And I looked below the garbage can. There were probably 50 to 60 cigarette butts littered around. And my first comment to myself was, oh my God, these guys haven't cleared up the garbage maybe for 2 or 3 days. Then I tried to open the door. The handle of the door was quite loose. It almost came off. I pushed the door and managed to get in. I got into the lift, and then I got to the first floor, and I went right in front of this retail branch. When I looked at the retail branch, I saw the signage. This signage was a little shaky. It was not bright. It was not even clear. And just when I was trying to walk in, I saw the 2 salespeople at the front of this branch. They were talking to each other, and you know what? They were not looking at me. One was a slightly older salesman, and the other one was a sales girl, and they were actually flirting with each other. And I was a little shocked and aghast. They're supposed to be receiving and welcoming me. And when I looked at the shop, the furniture was rather cluttered. Very good looking furniture, very good furnishing, very nice accessories, but a little cluttered. Now, you can take a wild guess whether this retail branch was doing well or not. The answer is very simple. It was not doing well. It was not doing well because of what this billionaire told me. They did not get their house in order. Their sales manager or the sales team members are supposed to welcome me. They are supposed to offer a great experience. The handle of the door is supposed to be stiff and is supposed to open the door. The car park is supposed to be well lit. The car park should not be greasy. The floor should not be slippery. And the garbage can must be spick and span and not overflowing with garbage. So it is very, very easy to guess that this particular branch is not going to do well. Because like this billionaire friend shared with me, they did not get their shit in order. So this is a very, very important insight I'd like to share with you. Most businesses that start, most startups, most SMEs do not do well because they do not have their house in order. So I had this question, how do you get your house in order? And I came to the conclusion there is a way of getting your house in order. There are 6 very important pillars. If you get these 6 drivers, pillars correct, you're going to get your house in order. So what are these 6 pillars? Let me show them to you. How do you get your house in order? This is the billion-dollar question, right? I'm calling these 6 drivers 6 predictors of success for any startup, for any SME, in fact, for any business. Now, you can see at the middle, it says solution. Are you offering a powerful solution? You can see business model. do you have a strong business model? Then on the left, you've got timing. Have you timed your business correctly? Then you've got team. Do you have the right team for your business? And then you've got brand. Are you building your brand? Do you have a strong brand and a value proposition? And then above that, you've got funding. Have you funded yourself correctly? Do you know what are the different funding strategies? So these are the 6 drivers of success for any startup. And I'm going to spend a lot of time focusing on each of these drivers in the next part of the session.
Yeah, thank you so much, Karthik. So as you guys can see on the screen, there are 6 predictors of success, or the 6 pillars in a startup, right? We would love to hear from you right now. Which pillar do you think is the biggest challenge for your business? All right, if it's business model, just type A into the Zoom chat box or Facebook comment section if you're watching live from Facebook. If it's B, funding, C, brand, D, team, so on and so forth. All right, so we would love to hear from you. Which one do you think is the current biggest challenge for you right now, so that Karthik can better understand your business and the audience and the people that we have here today. All right, so I see result here. We have A, business model. Just keep coming in. Which one do you guys think is your biggest challenge? B and D, okay. We have quite a few on funding and team. All right, I think majority here, the people here, they mentioned that their biggest challenge is funding. We have a couple from business model as well. A couple here says team, all right. Yeah, but the largest one, I think, largely is funding and also team. Not to worry, Karthik is going to dive deep into each and every one of these pillars later, but we are going to start off with solution first, all right? So Karthik, I have a question for you. Why is solution chosen to be right in the middle of all of the pillars?
Okay, thank you, Vivian. This is one of the most important questions because solution is the heart, it is the soul, and it is the primary driver of success, not only if you're a startup, not only if you are an SME, for any business. What do you mean by solution? I'm going to get to this. Now, I also want to mention this just before I get into this. What I'm going to give all you guys, all entrepreneurs from Sarawak who have tuned in to watch this, I'm going to give you an overview of these 6 drivers, predictors of success. You'll be delighted to know that this overview actually comes from a program, a digital program that we have, a very popular program. It is called Startup X. Now, the Startup X program gets very deep into these drivers of success so that you can get a deeper perspective with a lot of case studies, with a lot of tools, with a lot of reflection points, and so on and so forth. So let me dive straight into the question you asked, Vivian.
Yeah.
Why is solution right at the beginning? Solution is the starting point. If you are a business, you should never say that I have a great product or a great technology or a great service. You've got to say that I've got a great solution. Because customers do not buy products. They buy a solution which solves their problem. Nobody buys a product. Nobody buys a service. Nobody buys an app. Nobody buys even a technology. What every single customer buys is a solution. So the question is this: do you offer a solution which fixes or solves an important problem faced by your customers? If your answer is yes, I can promise you this, your business will do well. If your answer is maybe, then your business is going to flatline. If your answer is no, it does not, then your business will not do well. If your answer is I don't know, then this is my advice to you: very quickly spend some time to find out whether your product, service, app, or technology is seen as a very important solution faced by your customers.
Yep.
Now, let's get a little deeper into solution. Let me go to the next slide here. Remember this, if your business does not solve a customer problem today, it is not likely going to be having customers in the future. It's as simple as that. So, are you solving an important problem? One of the very big mistakes most businesses make, most startups make, even most SMEs make is this. They begin their journey with product development rather than customer development. This is a huge mistake. And what they do is they develop a product and suddenly find that there are no customers for this product. So please do keep this in mind. Begin with customer development and not with product development. Let me give you an example here. Now, you can see a cigarette that's being held in the picture that you can view on the screen. R.A.I.S., which used to be the second largest cigarette company in the United States, they launched this brand called Premier Cigarettes. It was Premier Smokeless Cigarettes. And they wanted to create a brand of cigarette which was clean, it did not smoke, and hopefully they thought it's going to be healthy, and a lot of people are going to begin smoking this. Now, here is the problem. They invested nearly $1 billion, and suddenly they realized there were no takers for this product. Why? The answer is pretty obvious. A smoker loves a cigarette which is smoking, right? Because when a cigarette smokes, it feels very pleasurable to your mouth, in your lungs, when you inhale it, when you exhale it. The second thing that they like is this. They like the burn. And then they like the flick of the ashes. These are the three most important things they like about a cigarette. Now, if you launch a smokeless cigarette, and then you try to smoke it, you look very silly. You almost look like you have a, let's say, a funny little toy or sweet in your mouth, like a lollipop. And it actually feels very, very silly if you are a smoker. So this was a disaster. And the reason it was a disaster because it did not solve a problem. It was not a solution. They were thinking of a product. They were excited by this innovation. They thought, hey, we've got a great smokeless cigarette. But customers did not want a smokeless cigarette. I hope you get the point here. Let me further clarify with another example. Take a look at it. I'm sure a lot of you use Spotify. Spotify is a very popular music and podcast platform. Today, the way music is consumed has changed. Today, people like music when they go to the gym. People like music when they want to relax. People like music when they are working. And people like music when they are walking, right? And voila, Spotify gives you the perfect opportunity. It is affordable, completely seamless. You can hear it from your laptop. You can hear it from your iPad. You can hear it from your phone. It is completely device neutral, anytime, any place. It's affordable.
Yep.
And you can literally jog, get on the gym, relax, and work. You see, it's an amazing solution to a problem faced by customers. Now, this is exactly what I mean by, do you have a solution? Are you solving a customer problem? This is the heart of the 6 drivers and predictors of success. And I want to leave you with some reflection points. Now, let me go to the next slide. I want you to think about this. What problem is your business solving right now? If you're a startup, what problem is your startup solving? If you're an SME, what problem is your SME solving? If you're a larger business, what is the problem you're really solving? Because if you're not solving a problem, you're going to be on a very slippery slope. The second question is this: what is the pain of a customer that you're reducing? The third one is this: what is the gain you're creating for your customers? So these are the three reflection points I'd like to leave behind. And
Yeah. So again, we would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing, Karthik. I just want to write on the first question that Karthik asked. So what problem is your startup solving? All right. But not to be mistaken, the solution is not the business model. All right. So let's say if I don't know, you're a food caterer, all right? You make some home cooked food and then you send it to the people in your neighborhood. Your solution is not that you cater food. The solution that you're bringing, could be you're literally bringing home into the people in Kuching, right? Because maybe certain people, they don't have access to home cooked food. Or another great example, I think it's probably IKEA. So IKEA, their solution, they are not selling furniture, you see. They are selling a lifestyle. The solution that they're providing is that they are helping people to have access to designer lifestyle, right? They're making designer lifestyle affordable. So what solution is your business currently solving right now? So put it into the Zoom chat. We would love to hear it from you. For those of you who are watching from Facebook Live, put it into Facebook comment section. We would love to hear from you. What solution are you providing for your customers right now, all right? We have Rizal here. He mentioned that events are complicated. We settle it for clients and make it memorable. So memorable brand memories, I think that's a really good solution for your clients. So just keep it coming, guys. What solution are you providing for your clients, or what problem are you solving for your clients? All right. There's someone here says that we make websites. The first impression for your business in today's digital landscape. Wow, you're helping to create a powerful first impression. Now that is a really good solution. All right. Now for those of you, just keep them coming. And if you have any question, just a reminder, just put it into the Slido, bit.ly/startup Slido, or you can scan the QR code that is on the screen. You can always pop your questions in there whenever you have them. All right. Now let's move on to the next pillar. The next pillar is business model. So Karthik, would you like to take on?
Yeah. Yes. Just before I go into business model, I want to tell all you guys, tuning in and watching this, please take the time to define your solution, because that is the starting point. Please do not take this lightly. This is pretty much the difference between success and failure. So what is the solution? Let me go to the second driver of success. Business model. Now, what do you mean by business model? There is a reason why business model comes number 2 when it comes to these 6 drivers and predictors of success. So let's look at what exactly is a business model. Now, take a look at the screen right in front of you. A business model is just a very complicated phrase which pretty much means how your business makes money. I know a lot of businesses, particularly startups, they have a product, but they don't have a business. They have a service, but they don't have a business. If you want to be a legitimate business, unless your product makes money, it's not a legitimate business. So a business model is nothing but how your business makes money. It's a system. Now, what do you mean by how it makes money? It's how it captures value, creates value, and delivers value. All these 3 elements are important. If you're a business, you must capture value. That means your customers must pay for your products and services. You must create value. They're not going to pay for it unless you generate value and solve a problem for them. And ultimately, you've got to deliver it to your customers. And please do remember this, a lot of startups do not work out simply because they haven't worked out their business model. Okay? So what I'm going to do is this. The best way to explain this is to give you some quick examples so that what a business model is registers very, very strongly in your minds. Okay, let's take a look at a few examples. This is the simplest way to explain a business model. Now, you've got this chart out here. Take a look at the brand from the top. You've got Amway. And Amway uses a very direct selling business model. It's almost like multi-level marketing, right? So that's one kind of business model. A second kind of business model, take a look at McDonald's, take a look at Old Town. This is a franchise-based business model. A third kind of business model is a subscription-based business model. You've got Microsoft Office, you've got Netflix. I'm sure a lot of you guys use Office and Netflix.
Yep.
Completely subscription-based, where you pay every month, every quarter, every week, and so on and so forth. And then you've got the freemium business model. This is a very, very interesting and new kind of business model. A great example would be Dropbox and Google. If you know, which I'm sure you guys know, Dropbox is a great platform to store your files, your pictures, and so on and so forth, even your movies, your photographs. For a minimum amount of space, you don't need to pay money. Let's say 1 terabyte. But if you want 10 terabytes, you got to pay for Dropbox. And it also holds good for Google. For something minimum, you don't need to pay for Google. But if your intensity and volume of usage goes up, you've got to pay Google, right? There is another kind of business model called a retainer model. This is a model used by McKinsey and consulting companies. And another kind of model is a model called a platform-based model, and this is used by Grab. This is used by Alibaba, by Taobao, and so on and so forth. So some of these business models are very, very important to be aware of, because if you are a business, you must understand what is your business model. Okay? So I've got a question for you. What is your business model? This is a very, very important question. Do you have the right business model? Okay? Let's look at a couple of reflection points. If you are a startup, if you are an SME, or if you're any business, my question to you is, do you have an effective business model? Because until you have an effective business model, you cannot be called a business. A second kind of question to you is this, a point of reflection is this: what makes this a competitive and sustainable business model? Okay? So these are the 2 points of reflections that I'm going to leave with you to think about. Remember, you are not a business until you have cracked your business model.
All right. Thank you so much, Karthik. Now, we would love to hear from you again, which just now I think Karthik mentioned that there are 6 different business models. If you can't remember them, let me just go back to the slide. I think there was, so direct selling, a direct sales model. Are you in franchise model? Help us to understand your business a little bit better. So if it's direct sales model, put it into the Zoom chat box right now. Just put A. If it's franchise model, put B. If your business currently is on a subscription model, put C. Freemium model, put D, so on and so forth, all right? For those of you watching on Facebook as well, do post it into the Facebook comment section so that we can get to know your business a little bit better, all right? We have Shuk Ching, her business model is platform-based model. We have Patsa, it's a subscription model. So just keep it coming. We have a few from direct sales as well. We have a retainer model as well. So just keep them coming in. We would love to get to know your business a little bit better. Now, but I have another question for you as well. You are clear with which business model you are having right now, but is your business model working for you? All right, just echoing what Karthik said just now in the reflection point, is your business model working for you? I think in today's world, there are really quite a lot of really great services and products, but unfortunately, many times it doesn't work. Not because they're not great, but because the business model is wrong. All right, and even with the evolving market right now, even with the pandemic, I think there are so many businesses whereby they have to reevaluate if this is the best business model for their customers in this season as well. All right, so do take some time to reflect on that and to evaluate, is a business model working for you? And if not, which other business model can you explore for your business right now? All right, now the next one, which is the pillar that many people mention that is our current business biggest challenge, right, which is funding. So, Karthik, tell us about funding.
Okay. See, funding is like oxygen, right? It's the oxygen for a business.
Yeah.
And a lot of businesses, tend to fold up because they do not get their funding sorted out. Okay? Now, many startups run out of cash, and even SMEs, face acute cash shortage, liquidity crisis, as they put it, working capital challenges, and so on and so forth. Now, any business needs money to do market research, to recruit people, to develop a business model, to refine product market fit, to plug knowledge gaps, to do marketing, to pay salaries, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is very quickly give you a sense of some of the funding strategies. This is a very big subject. This can actually take a 2 or 3 day workshop, but I want to give you an overview so that you can explore this even more deeply. Let's look at some funding strategies. I want you to remember this, particularly if you're a startup or if you're an SME, okay? Or even if you're a slightly bigger business. This is the way to look at funding. There are actually 3 kinds of funding strategies and 3 kinds of fundings. The first funding is what you may call early stage funding. Now, early stage funding is when you're setting up your business. Now, let me give you some examples. Early stage funding could be bootstrapping your business, which is putting your own money. Or it could be getting money from your family, from your friends, okay? That's a second kind of funding. A third kind of funding would be getting money from angel investors. Now that's called angel funding. You can get seed capital from either angel investors, and you can also get seed funding from incubators and certain kind of accelerators that only focus on startups at the idea stage. So these are some examples of early stage funding. Please do remember this. We should not mix up the different kinds of funding strategies, which is why I've broken it down into very clearly 3 kinds of funding. The first one I explained, I gave you an overview, early stage funding. Let me go to the second stage of funding. It's called scaling stage funding. What do you mean by scaling stage funding? Let's say you've got the early stage funding, which is seed capital, you've got some investment from angel investors. Now your business has become stable, customers are growing, and your business is beginning to grow, your revenues are beginning to take off, and you can feel momentum. Now you feel business is coming, revenues are growing, and you want to fund a greater growth for your business. That is what is meant by scaling, right? You cannot scale your business unless you're already growing and you've got customers for your business and you've sorted out your business model. So scaling stage involves largely approaching venture capitalists. Now, venture capitalists get into the fray only when your business is scaling. You will never see a VC getting into investments for a startup that is just beginning, that is trying to figure out whether the idea is right, that is trying to figure out a product market fit, that hasn't generated revenues. No VC will fund such a business, right? Please do remember this. A venture capitalist has different kind of funds. One is Series A funding, which can be, anything from 5 to 20 million US dollars. That is roughly the range. And then there is Series B funding, which could be 20 million US dollars and above. And then you can go up to Series D, Series E kind of funding, which can be 100 to even 300 million US dollars. Now, companies like Grab, they get into these kinds of funding, until they went ahead for an IPO, which was fairly recently. So please do remember this, that when you're scaling your business, you can scale your business only when you have a business model. Okay? Early stage funding, you do not have a proper, robust business model. Scaling stage, you've got a business model, you've got growth, you've got revenues, you've got customers who are, beginning to embrace your product or service. And largely it is the VCs that are going to fund the scaling stage funding. Please do remember this. And then there is the exit stage funding. This could be private equity consultants. Private equity consultants are very different from scaling stage funding investment people. Private equity guys only get into the fray when a business wants to, or rather when the founders want to exit a business, right? They've been running this business, they're now quite tired, they just want to sell it off, and what they do, they approach private equity experts. Now, you can also do exit stage funding by doing an IPO. So there are many ways to do exit stage funding. And to very quickly summarize, this is a very, very complex and big topic, but I just want to give you an overview. You've got early stage funding when you do not even have a business model, you have an idea stage, it's called seed funding. You've got scaling stage funding, largely by venture capitalists. They only get into the fray when you want to grow rapidly and scale rapidly. And finally, you've got exit stage funding. And the main people here are private equity experts. Now, this is really what you want to know. And the big point of reflection is this. What is your funding strategy? Do you have a funding strategy? Is it early stage? Is it scaling stage? Most entrepreneurs get completely mixed up. They mix up, incubators, accelerators, private equity people, VCs, and so on and so forth. So my goal was to completely strip the jargon away from funding so that you very clearly understand how to fund your company and who will be the right experts to fund your company.
That's good. All right. Thank you so much, Karthik, for distilling a few days. Some people learn funding for years, right? In just 5 minutes. All right. So we would love to hear from you again. Put it into the Zoom chat box because I think quite a number of you just now you mentioned that funding has been the biggest challenge for your business. Now we would like to hear from you. Which area in your business right now do you need funding the most? I think Karthik just now he covered a few. Some people need funding right now for market research. So put it into the Zoom chat box or the Facebook comment section. section below so that we can get to know you a little bit better. Do you need funding now to recruit people, or to develop business model, or to refine product market fit, so on and so forth, right? It's your operations, it's your talents. So which area of your business right now do you need funding the most? All right, I'm looking here right now in a Zoom chat. Maybe we can have a few people to answer this. If John, I think John Paul, my fellow Spotify addict, he mentioned that he was addicted to Spotify as well just now. Which business do you need funding the most? All right, or maybe we can hear from Hui Ling. We would love to hear from you. Which area of your business right now do you need funding the most? I think we have people saying that they're currently in the early stage to refine product market fit and rotating capital. There are people who are saying that they need fund to scale their business, refine product market fit. All right. There are people saying that Suli is saying that she's currently in a scaling stage. Really fantastic, great for you. John mentioned that my business is a social enterprise, looking for scaling stage funding so we can increase our impact to our target communities. Wow, that's really, really great to hear. Thank you so much, guys. Now, if you have any question on funding, don't forget you can post the question on bit.ly/startupslido. Karthik will attend to those questions very shortly after his sharing. The next one, let's go to the next one. Now, this pillar is timing, all right? That's really an interesting one, especially with the current time that we are in. Karthik, take it away.
Okay. Let me just move on to the next slide. Okay. Let's go to timing. Timing, if you look at all the factors, out of 6 factors, timing is a factor that is slightly outside your control. You got to remember this. But as a business, timing is a very important factor. If you are a technology business, particularly in cutting edge technology, let's say there is a race to build a particular app or technology, completely new. In such a case, timing is going to be the number 1 factor. It's not even going to be solution. It's going to be timing. Like for several Silicon Valley companies, for instance, timing is going to be either number 1 or number 2 as a driver or factor of success. Now, even if you're not in a very high technology business, timing is very, very important. Now, let's explore this a little bit. Now, timing as a factor is rather underrated. We need to remember this. It is possible to develop a product, but find out that this product is way ahead of its time. This has happened again and again and again. Do you know that the prototype of a computer was actually developed more than 100 years ago? This would shock people. Okay, but when did we actually have a user-friendly computer? It was only in the 80s and 90s, right? So sometimes an idea can be way ahead of its time. It is also common to find that you're entering a category when you are rather late and when the market cycle works against you. Now, the best way to explain this is by giving some examples. I'm not an academic person, I'm a hardcore practitioner because I personally work with thousands of entrepreneurs. So let's look at examples. That's the best way to learn. Now let's look at timing, where timing has worked for companies, where companies have benefited from timing. Now, we've been facing this huge pandemic, and pretty much every company has been affected by this pandemic. In my opinion, 80% of the companies have been affected adversely, and maybe 20 to 10% of the companies were actually affected favorably, right? So if you take Microsoft Teams, they took off. Zoom, hardly anybody knew about Zoom, right? It took off. Google Meet, yes, was popular earlier. It was called Google Hangouts, has taken off. Slack. You know, Slack was actually bought over for nearly 30 billion US dollars.
Wow.
All this is because timing worked favorably. And then there is this company called the Serum Institute of India. Now, this is a privately held company which manufactures nearly 70% of the vaccines all over the world. Almost all vaccines all over the world are manufactured by this one company. And you can just imagine how high their valuations went through the roof. Now, this is a privately held company. Now, Pfizer took off. And then there is a company, mask company called Nutrovis. Nutrovis, actually the founder of Nutrovis is a student of ours, is also a client of ours. Now, this particular brand and company took off. They're growing at 200, 300, 500% every single year. Many of the glove companies, the PPE companies, they started to take off. So these are, brands and companies that have favorably benefited from timing. Let's look at companies and businesses that were not favored by this pandemic. Now, I'm giving you some examples from Malaysia. Esprit. Esprit is a very popular brand. It's a global brand. I think it originates from San Francisco. They actually shut shop in Malaysia. And then there is this coffee brand, very, very popular, called Dalcom. It's a brand from Korea, very, very popular, from South Korea. Did not take off. They had to shut shop. There's a very popular media company called Blue Ink Media. You may not know this name, but they actually have a lot of magazines, very, very popular. There is a fashion magazine called Jelita, a fashion magazine called Women's Weekly, Clio, and so on and so forth. Now, very, very popular. Go to any spa, go to any salon, you will see these magazines lying strewn around. Unfortunately, they had to shut shop. Ramada, based in, I think Ramada Plaza, based in Malacca, very popular haunt for tourists in Malacca, they had to shut down. R.A.I.S.E lost billions of dollars. Literally, they could have shut down, very close to reaching a shutdown and bankruptcy stage. Here are some examples of companies businesses that faced the wrong end of timing. So you can benefit from timing, or you can lose out because of timing. Now, is there a way to look at timing that works for you? Actually, there is a formula. It is called STEEP, S-T-E-E-P. What do you mean? Look at social factors, technology factors, economic factors, environmental factors, and political factors. This can be put down in an acronym called STEEP, S-T-E-E-P. So if you look at these factors, you can get a reasonable sense of whether timing is working for you or working against you. And based on that, you can look at a timing that works for your company. So the big points of reflection I'd like to leave behind. You guys need to remember this is a very complex predictor and driver of success. My goal is to simplify it and make it easy for you. So the big question for you is this: is timing working to your advantage or your disadvantage? How so? So what are you doing about it? You can change your business model. You can look at a product which is more refined. You can maybe fine-tune your solution. So there are many things you can do. So make your timing work for you.
Yeah.
That is what I'd like to leave behind.
Yeah. Now, as Karthik mentioned just now, especially in this pandemic, some of the businesses thrive, right? But some businesses, or if not most businesses, are badly affected. So, which one are you? We would love to know that. If the timing right now is working for you, just type yes into the Zoom chat or Facebook comment. If it is not working for you, type no. All right, let us know in the Zoom chat right now or in the Facebook comment section. Events, no, for sure, right? A lot of the events company are being affected. Just type in yes if it is working well for you, and type no if it's not working well for you, all right? And I just want to echo what Karthik said just now. Timing is something that we cannot control, right? But we can control our business model. Right, we can control our solutions. So I think what's great about these 6 predictors of startup success is that it really works hand in hand together. So if timing is not working for you, then take a look at the other pillars of startups in a startup, and how can you look into them and evaluate and explore different possibilities, right? I think John here is saying that it's not working as well. Too much emphasis on physical events and creative projects, right? Yeah, I think we definitely can understand that a lot of the businesses are being affected. Now, because we have a very short time, I think we are currently at 3:10 already. We are trying to finish this in a couple more minutes. We have 2 more pillars to go. Karthik, why don't you take on team, which is the next pillar?
Wonderful. Now, the next pillar of success is team. I just want you to remember that a team can make or break a business. Now, often startups end up imploding because they have team members that end up fighting. There is politics, there's no agreement on the mission, and so on and so forth. You also need to remember that business is a team sport. I love this statement by Phil Jackson, one of the greatest basketball coaches. You can read what he said. Good teams become great ones when the members trust each other enough to surrender the me for the we. So really what he's saying is great teamwork comes from thinking in terms of we rather than thinking in terms of me. Now, what we need to remember is this. Because business is a team sport, a business with the best team always wins. As simple as that. Imagine a football team, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United. It is very, very clear that the team that wins the championship, the FA Cup or the La Liga, is always the team which is the best, right? So remember, business is a team sport. There are many important qualities you've got to look at when you pick a team. Now, I'm just going to pick on 2 or 3 of these attributes. I won't go through every single one of them. A large company would pick slightly different attributes. But if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a startup, if you are an SME, you have to pick slightly different attributes. To me, the first attribute is this. A team member must be a self-starter. A large company can take an expert. They don't need to go for a self-starter. But if you're an entrepreneur, you've got to go for somebody who does not need to be, you don't need to babysit this person. That person knows what to do and just gets it done. So self-starter, the quality of being a self-starter is absolutely vital. The second quality is passion. You got to remember this. If you're running a business, particularly if it's a startup, SME, you're going to face problems, challenges every single day. Every week can be volatile. So you need people who are passionate, who do not get, easily disappointed. A third quality is resilience. What do you mean by resilience? It is people who do not buckle down. If there is, let's say, a failure, they do not mope about it, they don't feel bad, they don't get destroyed. They just pick themselves up and press on. So resilience is absolutely important. Over and above that, go for people who are ethical. Because when you're a startup, you've got to be transparent. You've got to go for people who are competent. They've got to know what they're doing. They must have expertise. Very important. You got to go for team players. When you're very small, you got to play as a team. Everybody needs to trust each other, and so on and so forth. And finally, the entire team needs to be mission driven. They must be excited by what your startup is doing and what your SME is doing. Now, this is a very big topic. I just wanted to give you a little flavor of this topic. And I want to also tell you guys this. When you take a mediocre person and put him in an outstanding environment, that mediocre person becomes outstanding, right? When you take an outstanding person and put that person in a mediocre place, that talent becomes mediocre, which is one of the reasons why outstanding brands around the world like Lego, like Google, and so on and so forth, Pixar, they always provide outstanding environments for their team members, for their talent. Let me give you a metaphor. If you take fresh cucumber and dip it in a jar of vinegar, this cucumber will begin to taste like vinegar, right? So this fresh cucumber becomes like a pickle because you put this fresh cucumber in an environment of vinegar. So that is how important environment is. So to summarize, choose those important attributes like resilience, being a self-starter, ethics, being a team player, being mission-driven, passion, and so on and so forth, and try to create an environment that stimulates your talent rather than saps your talent. This is what I'd like to leave behind, and this is the big point of reflection. Do you have a team which has the right attributes? Think about it.
Yeah, that's good, right? I think mentioned about 7 important attributes, especially to build a successful startup, especially in this time. When you're working from home during the pandemic time, your talent better have resilience, right? And better have passion, and they better be self-starters. I was evaluating myself as well. Do I personally have all of those attributes? So just to echo what Karthik said, now that we know all these attributes are really vital to build a successful startup, does your team have them? All right, or what kind of team do you have? Right, what's the gap? How big is the gap? And what can you do, perhaps in your culture and environment, to instill all these values and to encourage or reward these attributes in your company? All right. Now let's move forward to the last pillar, which is brand. I think brand is a really interesting one because I think most of the entrepreneurs that we speak to, they believe that brand is for the large corporates, right? It's sort of like a luxury that only the big companies can afford. So why did you put brand into one of the startup pillars?
Absolutely. You know what? One of the biggest mistakes a startup does, SMEs do, is they don't even think about brands. They think about products or services and so on, or marketing and so on. Now, you've got to begin your journey with branding. Please do remember that.
Wow.
When Facebook bought WhatsApp, do you know something? WhatsApp was not making any money, zero money. Facebook bought WhatsApp for nearly $19 billion because it was a powerful brand. They bought Instagram when Instagram was making no money because Instagram became a very powerful brand. Please do remember that. Begin your journey by being a strong brand, by creating a strong brand. Very quickly, what do you mean by a strong brand? Let me just take a couple of minutes on this. Something, like I said, think about branding from the beginning. Very, very important. Second thing is, don't think branding is a luxury. Actually, not branding your startup is a luxury. Remember, if you don't brand yourself now, you're not even going to be a business in the future. If you don't brand yourself now, you're going to end up becoming a commodity and you're going to end up fighting on price, right? So let me explain this with a couple of examples. Uber. Uber is a very, very strong brand, valued at $100 billion. And they've got this tagline which says, smart way to get around. And you know something? 10 years ago, even 7, 8 years ago, when you wanted a cab, you had some problems. You did not know whether the driver was reliable. You did not know whether the car was clean, whether the driver, it's a safe car to, get on, particularly when you're in a different city, right? You did not even know whether the driver could mug you, right? You could, get mugged in a car. But when Uber, arrived in this scene, suddenly in 30 seconds, you can get on this app and you can find out the name of the driver, what car is going to pick you, is the car clean, is it hygienic, is it a premium car, and is the driver reliable, and how the driver has been rated, and the driver knows where you're going. The driver knows your name, and you can rate this driver. And here is the good news. You even know how much it's going to cost, right? And how long it's going to take you there. So you see, that is the power of branding. If you take Uniqlo, another fantastic brand. What is Uniqlo? Uniqlo is an everyday life wear. You can wear it anytime, any place, every day. They have unique technologies. They've got heat tech technologies if the weather is cold. They've got block tech technologies if it is windy. They've got R.A.I.S.E, which lets the fabric breathe, for instance. So this is a high-tech, everyday, anytime kind of life wear. You see, that is the power of branding. And this is a very, very big topic. I just wanted to simplify it and give an overview to all you guys so that you get the big picture of these 6 different drivers of success. And do not forget to brand your startup or an SME. Because when you brand your SME, you're walking away with a competitive advantage. People know what you stand for. People know what your value proposition is. So begin by branding.
Right, great. Thank you so much, Karthik. I think we have come to the end of the sharing, and I'm sure all of you have gained tremendous insights on what are the 6 pillars to make a startup successful, or the 6 predictors of startup success, as Karthik has put it. So thank you so much, Karthik, for really going through and sharing these insights with us. Now, before we go into the Q&A, I just want to share that, whatever that Karthik shared just now is really just at the tip of the iceberg, all right? Because we can't cram the whole thing in 1.5 hours. So if you would like to get to know deeper and dive deeper, understanding what it really takes to build a successful startups, or what it takes to put all the 6 foundational pillars together, you really wouldn't want to miss out Startup X, which is the digital program that Karthik has mentioned just now, the latest digital program that we have created in GX. For Startup X, our goal really is to help accelerate your startup development process. Okay, because we talked about the 6 pillars, we have case studies inside there as well. We also talk about how to navigate through the choppy journey of a startup, right? Because when you build a startup, there are a lot of inevitable mistakes and risks that you're going to take. So Startup X really aims to have reduce all the mistakes or the risks that you may take as a startup entrepreneur. And at the same time, for Startup X, we really aim to help make your business future ready. as Karthik mentioned just now, I think especially in timing, a lot of you mentioned as well that in the pandemic, right, your businesses, a lot of your businesses are being affected, right, in many, many different ways. Personally, I went through the digital course myself, and the two particular topics that were really my most favorite is one you mentioned about what are the future trends, right? And also you talk about what to prepare for the next crisis. And I think that was such a powerful sharing. It's just like in 8 to 9 minutes, and Karthik shared quite a couple of tools to help prepare, especially for startup entrepreneurs. What can you do to prepare yourself for the next big crisis or the next pandemic, all right? So really, you really wouldn't want to miss that out. For Startup X, we do have a really special promotion just for you guys, okay, just for you guys watching. We're going to have a one-time deal of 40% off if you buy it within this weekend. So after tomorrow, after Sunday, we don't have the promotion anymore. So only for this weekend. We have 30 videos. We have quite a handful of case studies as well, so that you can learn from the success and the failures of other companies, so that you don't need to go through them yourself. All right, but what's great is, it is truly specifically created for entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs usually have really packed schedule, right? And Karthik has purposely distilled all these down to only 3 hours. And 3 hours includes the time with the reflection that you will take and the application that you will take in the worksheets that is also available in the Startup X. So you wouldn't want to miss that out. 40% off, a one-time deal only for you guys here in Sarawak, okay? And yeah, if you're interested, you can register through the QR code shown on the screen, or you can go to raisesarawak.com/startupx. You can put in the promo code upon checkout, R.A.I.S.E, R-A-I-S-E 40, and you can get the 40% off after the checkout. All right, so I think we also want to talk about the next workshop as well. This is the very first R.A.I.S.E virtual workshop that we are doing, and we are starting off with startup. The next one that we are going to do is 1 month from now. You wouldn't want to miss that as well. It's called Master 5 Innovation Tools to Disrupt the Market. The next virtual workshop that we're going to do is going to be on innovation, which we are really so excited, to partner up with iCube Innovation themselves to really help increase and upgrade the innovation skill sets of the entrepreneurs here in Sarawak. So you wouldn't want to miss that out. It's free as well, just like today. Register now through this QR code that you see on the screen, or you can go to bit.ly/R.A.I.S.E Innovation. It is capital sensitive, all right? So capital R and capital I to register yourself for the next one. And if you were to come join us again, we will see you in exactly 1 month time, all right? Now, I know we don't have a lot of time because we have a couple of technical issues. Just also sorry about that. But we do have a lot of questions in Slido, all right? So we will try to answer as many of them as we can in the next maybe 10 to 15 minutes, all right? So Karthik, the most voted question here is, do you have any advice for youth who wish to start a business?
Okay. Wow, this is probably the 300th time I've got this question in the last 1 month. This is what I'm going to share with you. The jobs that have been lost, something 450 million jobs were lost because of this pandemic. And, well over 2 million jobs, have been cut even in Malaysia. And many of the jobs are not coming back. This is something you've got to remember. And a lot of people get quite depressed by it. And a lot of companies are getting into automation, they're getting into robotics, they're getting into artificial intelligence, they're getting into machine learning, and they've gotten used to reducing the strength and size of their labor force, right? I actually think this is a great opportunity for students. Why? Because if you're a student, you're full of ideas. When you're 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, maybe up to 28, the level of passion you have is far more than when you're 35, 45, 55, and so on. And this is the best time to take the plunge and become an entrepreneur. Why? Because when, as a student, you become an entrepreneur, you bring that idealism, you bring that passion, and you put it to work and make a difference to the community, to the society, and ultimately to the world, to Malaysia, and so on. And see, we have a choice in life. We can be an employee, in which case somebody else pays your salary, or you can be an employer, right? You can be a consumer, or you can be a producer. If you are an employer, you're actually making a powerful difference to the country, to your state, and to your community. Please do remember that. So my very big advice is this: take the plunge. Take the plunge. Don't think too much about it. No?
Yes.
Don't become a job seeker. Become a job creator.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's really powerful. Now, for the next question, this has now become the most voted. I think we have quite a couple of clients that we have worked with in the construction industry as well, so we can relate to that. This person asked, in construction, clients just want it cheap, right? They want a Mercedes with price of a ganjil. So how do we further enhance the branding of a construction company?
Okay. See, now, this is what I'm going to suggest. It goes against the current thinking. I've worked with a lot of construction companies. I worked with Capital Land, which is probably the largest, you can say integrated property construction company, maybe in Asia Pacific.
Yeah.
I've worked with several construction companies, including property development companies. The biggest trap people fall into is this. They fall into the price trap. The second trap they fall into is this: they first build and then they look for customers. Remember, when we started with the 6 predictors of success, we looked at the solution as a driver of success, right? You must start with the customer. What exactly do customers want? And then create the right product for the customer. Because when you do that, you can actually come out with a solution that customers love and end up buying. I can give you 2 examples. I worked with 2 companies, both Malaysian companies. One is a company called R.A.I.S.E. R.A.I.S.E. was a company that was doing about 120, 150 million. And when we did some market study, we came to the conclusion that we should talk to first-time home buyers. So we created a whole strategy only to create homes for first-time home buyers. So the pricing was right for the first-time home buyers. The size of the apartment was perfect for the first-time home buyers. The location was created perfectly for them. We looked at their needs, high technology, smart homes at lower prices.
Yeah.
Another example is a company called Home West. We started working with them about a year ago.
Yeah.
We created this concept called smart community living, right? We called it community living at great value. See, this is what the young people are looking at. How did we know this was the right thing to do? It was because we talked to all kinds of different customers. So please do remember this. Do not fight on price. Begin with the customer, understand what is right for the customer, and create a solution for your customer.
Yeah.
And I know your question is a lot deeper than that. Unfortunately, this is the only time I have, and I do not have enough information about your construction company. Maybe the next time I meet with you,
Yeah.
I would be delighted to get into greater detail on this specific question. But thank you for your question anyway. I hope this
Yes.
helps.
Yeah. And just continue on that, because just now we talk about the customers, right, in the construction industry. There's someone, I'm going to combine two questions together, all right? Because there's someone here asked, how do you motivate staff in the construction industry? Someone also asked, what if my talents are not self-starters, right? So I think they're sort of similar. What would you advise them to do?
Okay, these are two very different, questions. One is how do I, what if my, let's say, team members are not self-starters?
Yeah.
That's one kind of question. A second question is it's got to do with a construction company.
How do you motivate the staff?
How do you motivate the staff? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is my advice to you. You've got to recruit self-starters. Okay? I always say this, when it comes to talent, you have to hire attitude,
Wow.
not aptitude. Okay? Meaning, hire based on the attitude. Are they self-starters? Are they passionate? Are they willing to learn? Rather than whether they did a master's degree or whether they, have a degree from a particular college and so on and so forth. So that is the first thing. Talent has to be caught, not taught. Right? See, it is very difficult to train attitude. You can train skill, right? But you can't train attitude. It's very difficult to train attitude. So my advice is this: do not hire people who are not self-starters. And if they are not self-starters, do not put them in jobs where you require them to be switched on and take ownership, responsibility, and leadership.
Right.
Right? And that's one advice to one question. And the other question is, how do you motivate your team? Okay, very, very simple. Pretty much talent anywhere in the world are motivated by the mission of the company. Right? What is the mission of your business? Now, if your mission is exciting, even though you're a small company, you can attract fantastic people. I'll give you an example. We are the Global Entrepreneur Exchange. Now, we are a coalition of entrepreneurs. Everybody who works with us is an entrepreneur. Many of them have been CEOs, and even chairmen before. Now, why have all these people come together? Because our mission is to be the world's most admired, respected, and valuable platform and partner for entrepreneurs. We have a very exciting mission. We want to be a go-to place for entrepreneurs. Whatever an entrepreneur wants, we want to be a place that helps address an entrepreneur's challenge, right? Now, this mission is what excites us. It's the same mission that excites Vivian, that excites pretty much everybody that works with us, right? So, create a mission which is very, very attractive.
Yep.
The second thing is this: empower your people, give them autonomy and freedom. Now, when you give autonomy and freedom to people rather than micromanage them, you will find that they take ownership and leadership. The third thing that motivates people is this: provide them with an environment which stimulates them, which gives them tremendous learning opportunity. Because at the end of the day, outstanding people want to learn and expand. There are many other factors here, but I've given you 3 ways to motivate your people.
Yeah.
I really wish I can share more, but I hope I've given you a quick flavor of what it takes to motivate your people.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for your question.
That's good. One of it, it talks about how to motivate your employees, right? I think Kade just covered that. There's a very interesting question here. It says, how do I motivate myself as I build a startup?
Okay. I know. See, I get this question, 1,000 times, right? I get this question when I do leadership workshops. I get question when I, you name it, right? How do I motivate yourself? Actually, the answer is very, very simple. You motivate yourself when you do something which is motivating, period. Now, you see, what I'm doing right now, I'm talking to all you wonderful entrepreneurs from Sarawak. Why am I doing this? It is because what I do truly motivates me. I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it because even if nobody pays me, I'm going to do it anyway because it makes me come alive,
Right.
right? So, how do you motivate yourself? Simple. Do something which motivates you and don't do anything which demotivates you. Period. That is the quick answer,
Wow.
right?
That's good. Right. Thank you so much, Karthik. Now, there is this question which is really highly voted as well. We talked about how to motivate ourselves, right? Now, we're going to go to the other end of the spectrum. Now, when is it time to call it quit for a business? I think there are a couple of people who asked this. When is it time for me to exit, to give up? Or how long do you want to hold on, until it burns? So, Karthik, what would you like
Okay.
to advise?
See, I'm glad you asked this question. It's a very complex question because this varies from industry to industry, right? It also depends on what your goals are. I'll give you an example. Do you know something? Grab is still not making money. How many of you know that Grab is not making money?
Oh, wow.
So what are they doing? I'll give you an example. There's a company in India called Practo. It is the world's #1 platform for health. And you know how many people consume Practo? 170 million people.
Wow.
And they are still not making that much of money right now. So it depends on your business. What these guys are trying to do is they want to build a massive customer base. And Facebook did not make any money even when it had 2 billion customers on Facebook. Do you know that? They did not make money. Only later on, after they created a huge critical mass of a customer base, they began to make money. So, when do you exit? It actually depends on you. One is the kind of business you're in. Some businesses go for valuation. Like Grab is going for valuation, right? Companies like Practo I was talking to you about is going for valuation. Gojek, which is based in Indonesia, they want to become a super app. They are a super app. They're going for valuation. So if you're in a business that's going for valuation, you've got a very long runway or window, right? But if you are a business that is not going for valuation, if you're in a technology space, this is based on a lot of research. Typically, it takes 4 to 7 years to create that perfect product market fit so that your business is able to scale. We had the privilege of inviting Yuri Levine,
Yeah.
who's the founder of R.A.I.S.E, and he has created $3 billion companies. We had the privilege of inviting him a few months ago. And you know what he said? He said it took him 7 years before R.A.I.S.E really took off. In other
Wow.
words, before they could create this product market fit.
Wow.
Until then, it was about creating the right product, finding out the right business model, experimenting so that you get your business right, you get all the 6 predictors and drivers right, and then your business begins to take off and scale. So my general advice, if you're not in a big technology, let's say, space, is to look at 4 to 7 years. Okay? Because in 4 to 7 years, your learning is so refined, is so sharp and nuanced that your business will begin to take off. Right? It's a very tough question. If I know your exact business and if I probably meet you, I can probably give you a more nuanced response. But thank you very much for your question. It's a very important question relevant to pretty much all entrepreneurs.
Yeah, for sure. All right, now I know we have taken a little bit longer than expected, but we just want to end the session, Karthik, with this question. You have mentored 1,000 entrepreneurs, more than 1,000 entrepreneurs, right, from businesses of various sizes, including startups as well. Let's end the session with an inspiring story, shall we? So has there been any success story that inspired you?
Okay. See, it's like this because I've worked with so many brands and companies and governments and so on. I'll just give you two quick examples. I've spent a significant part of my life in Singapore, and I worked with the Singapore government, with the Economic Development Board of Singapore. And at that point in time, Singapore was facing huge challenges. You had China, you got India, you had South Korea, Taiwan, Malaysia, and they were trying to figure out how to position themselves, how to generate serious business, how to attract talent, how to attract tourists. So they were looking at all those kinds of challenges.
Right.
And, we worked with the Economic Development Board, and then we said the way forward is to make Singapore the hotbed of talent for the Asia Pacific.
Wow.
And then to become an incubator of ideas, right? That's really how it began. And so we said our platform should be Singapore is a place where anybody can come with an idea and that idea can take off. So we said Singapore is a place of unlimited possibilities.
Wow.
So that's really how it began. And slowly, Singapore started putting one thing after the other. They, it was art, it was science. They started inviting, Fortune 500 companies. Slowly, it became a financial center. Slowly, Formula One was actually run in the heart of the city. Then, slowly, Singapore became a center of entrepreneurship. Singapore was never a center of entrepreneurship. So the starting point was this: how do we make this a hub for the world's best talent? That's really how it began. And now you can see Singapore has pretty much achieved all these goals. So this is a project that I was delighted to be associated with. And parallelly, I created a platform called the Global Brand Forum. Within a year, it was voted by BBC as the Davos of branding. I brought a lot of amazing people from around the world to this forum. Now, that's one example. Another example, let me give from close home in Malaysia. There is this company called Biomed Global. 5 years ago when we worked with them, they were a distributor, and they had a name called BMS. And what we did was we got them to move from being a distributor to becoming a brand. We got them to move from being somebody that was just selling other people's products to somebody that was offering solutions to the entire medical industry. And we created this whole platform, and the platform was empowering partners and enriching lives. So partners were doctors, labs, hospitals, and so on, and enriching lives was really patients. Now today, this company is rapidly growing. They have seriously benefited from this pandemic.
Yep.
And today I can clearly say they are a brand. They are investing seriously in Indonesia. They're doing very well in Singapore. And they have become 3 to 4 times bigger. So today they are Biomed Global, a brand. And a few years ago, they were BMS, a distributor. So it was a dramatic transformation. So this is yet another example from Malaysia. So I hope that answers your question, Vivian.
Yeah, thank you so much, Karthik. It's always so refreshing and enriching to speak with you, because Karthik is not just a teacher. He is a practitioner, right? Which is why he always has stories and stories and stories to tell us. So thank you so much, Karthik, really, for all the insights that you have given to us. I'm sure every single one of you have taken back a lot of learnings. Now, I just want to thank iCube Innovation again, really, for making R.A.I.S.E virtual workshop happen. And for all of you who are interested to learn more about startup, how to make your startup successful, what it really takes to do that, again, you can go to Startup X. That link is shown on the screen. There's only a 40% off discount only for this weekend, and specifically only for you guys. And for those of you who would like to hear more from Karthik on innovation, join us 1 month from now for the Master 5 Innovation Tools to disrupt the market. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Thank you. It's a Saturday.
Thank
It's
you.
a family day, but thank you for being with us. And we will see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.